What's up, guys? Neil Orford here to talk about some late round quarterbacks. While you're coming in, please like and subscribe. It helps us out a lot if you do. If you have not yet signed up for Underdog, of course, we have a fantastic deal for you. Just use the link in the description of this video, and you'll get your first deposit on Underdog matched up to $100. So if you put $20 in, they'll add $20 to your account. If you put $100 in, they'll add $100 to your account. Whatever amount you put in, up to $100, Underdog is going to match that amount, and you'll have that amount to play with on Underdog. On top of that, if you use our link, you're also going to get free access to the Stochastic Best Ball package, including Matt Kajeski's Best Ball Rankings CSV, which can be uploaded directly onto Underdog. After you sign up, Underdog will send us an email to let us know that you used our link, and then we will send you an email so you can get free access to Matt Kajeski's Best Ball Rankings if you use the link in the description of this video. I've made these late round sleeper videos already for running backs, wide receivers, and tight ends. And in all of those, I gave a couple examples of earlier players that I'm fading in favor of my late round picks. Quarterback is a little bit different, though, because I'm never drafting a quarterback in a vacuum. That's true of every position to an extent, but it's especially true with quarterbacks because you're not just betting on the player, you're betting on the entire offense. So for me, I'm really never just drafting a quarterback in a vacuum. I'm trying to make a bet on the offense. So let's use the Joe Burrow situation as an example. So Joe Burrow, it just came out that he is going to miss several weeks. That's the news that came out. Really vague. We don't have clarity on whether that means several weeks of the season or several weeks of the off season. At this point, at the time that I'm making this video, news will come out. Maybe we'll get some clarity there. But so far, we don't really have a lot of info on Joe Burrow. So let's just pretend as a hypothetical that Burrow is expected to miss 8 weeks. That is going to affect not only where we should be taking Burrow, it's also going to affect where we should be taking his pass catchers. Part of the reason we feel comfortable taking two Bengals receivers in the first 2 rounds is that they have an elite quarterback who can sustain two great receivers. But if Burrow is going to miss 8 weeks, we should have less confidence taking Chase within the first two picks, and we should have a lot less confidence taking T. Higgins in the first 2 rounds. That's part of the beauty of stacking. Obviously, you want to have your quarterback stacked in the playoff rounds when you're trying to put up a spike week. Just like in DFS, you're trying to reach a ceiling. You want to get, just have to get one thing right. And if you can get the stack right, you're getting both the quarterback and one or two of his pass catchers making the same bet. But it's also helpful for advance rates in the regular season. If I have exactly 8% of each of Burrow and Higgins, for example, and it turns out that Burrow's injury is more serious than we thought and he'll miss the whole season, I'd rather have all of my exposure to Higgins in lineups that also have Burrow. Both players are tanked in that case, and I'd rather just have 8% of my lineups that are losing significant value for two of its players rather than having them spread out. On the opposite end of the spectrum, if you are a drafter who doesn't care at all about stacking and you end up with 8% exposure to each, but in completely different lineups, so you have 8% of T. Higgins in one set of lineups, 8% of Joe Burrow in a different set of lineups, you're losing significant value on 16% of your teams, on early round players. All this to say, there aren't any quarterbacks I'm fully fading. So many quarterbacks project really similarly, and I just take whoever fits the team that I'm building. Let's take a look at Matt's rankings real quick. So here's Matt's quarterback rankings, and just look at, so here's this is the projected points column. Look at how close so many of these quarterbacks are. They're just really close in how they project. I'm not going to tell you to full fade any of these quarterbacks. To me, it really comes down to, do I already have their pass catch? So like right now, I am underweight on several. I'm underweight on Jared Goff because I don't have enough Amon-Ra St. Brown. It hasn't made sense to take a ton of Jared Goff for me. I'm really underweight to Derek Carr because I haven't drafted a ton of Chris Olave. But I'm looking to correct that. It's not because I love the idea of fading Derek Carr. It's just so far in my drafts, I haven't drafted a ton of Chris Olave, but I'm trying to correct that, get more Olave. And as I get a little bit more Olave, I'm naturally going to get more Derek Carr as well, because my focus again is on stacking. I'm trying to always stack my quarterback. So even if I am underweight on some of these quarterbacks, it's just due to the way my lineups have been coming together. Those stacks have not been fitting for me. Maybe I'll change a little bit. So I'm not really trying to full fade any quarterbacks. I'm not really advising against any quarterbacks here, but I will say there are later quarterbacks that I prefer to draft, in part because I can start setting up their stacks after pick 100, and it just makes it easy to set some late stacks together. So my favorite late round quarterback has to be rookie Bryce Young with an ADP of 180. He's not exactly an elite rusher, but he's not a zero in the rushing game either, which is nice. He rushed 49 times for 185 yards and 4 touchdowns in 12 games his senior year at Alabama. Nothing amazing, but at least he isn't a statue out there. And it should be noted that the yardage is a bit suppressed because sacks for college quarterbacks get counted as negative yardage. So his actual rushing total is a little bit better than the 185 yards would indicate. He was the number one overall pick in this year's draft. He's obviously an elite quarterback prospect. He clearly has the upside to be a great NFL quarterback. And we may start seeing that upside his rookie year. Obviously, it's risky. You never know with a quarterback, but if he is the real deal, he could start showing that his quarterback, his elite upside right away. And part of what I love about Bryce Young in best ball is that all of his top pass catchers can be had really late. In particular, Jonathan Mingo is typically first off the board with an ADP of 142.2. Adam Thielen is next at 143.3. And best of all, those aren't even my favorite of Bryce Young's pass catching options. My favorite is probably DJ Chark, who has an ADP of 158.9. Hayden Hurst can be added to the stack with your last pick or two. The upside is huge for this stack, and even if it doesn't work out, the investment is so low that you can still advance and hope for a playoff spike week or two. Rely on your other quarterbacks earlier on, maybe get a spike week later on, probably more likely with the rookie quarterback that is going to come more into his own later in the season. So a lot to like about this Panthers stack with Bryce Young, again, ADP of 180. My second favorite late round quarterback also happens to be the second player taken in the 2023 draft. That's CJ Stroud of the Texans, going at an ADP of 194. Stroud runs less than Young, but he's still not a zero on the ground. He clearly has elite upside. And although you can't wait as long to start if you want the best parts of the Texan stack, the weapons are a little bit better. Still pretty late. You can get Nico Collins with an ADP of 115.3. Dalton Schultz could also be a target monster in this Texans offense. You don't have to take him until pick 138 on average. And after those two, you can gamble on John Mechie's health or wait until the end of the draft and take a flyer on Robert Woods or Tank Dell. So another really easy stack to set up. Clearly has some upside if Stroud is the real deal starting his rookie year. There's only one other quarterback whose stack you can start after pick 100. He's not sexy. He runs for less than 10 yards per game and has one total rushing touchdown in 31 career games. But Mac Jones is going to be the Patriots starting quarterback again this year. He only has 2 years under his belt. He'll turn 25 just days before the regular season starts. It would not be surprising to see Jones take a step forward this year. And currently, he has an ADP of 210, meaning you can typically get him in the last round of the draft. Even better, if your stacks have really fallen apart throughout the draft, you can pair Mac with Hunter Henry in the last 2 rounds. If you buy Camp Rumors, the pair seem to have chemistry so far in training camp. And if you plan ahead a little, you can get Juju Smith-Schuster as the wide receiver 1 for the Patriots at pick 117, Tyquan Thornton at pick 181, Devontae Parker at 190, or even receiver tight end hybrid Mike Gesicki at 185. So there you have it, 3 quarterbacks to target if your early stacking plans fall apart or you simply choose to wait to start setting up some of your stacks. Thanks for watching. Let me know in the comments if you think there are other late round quarterbacks I should be targeting this season, and good luck this year.